In a world where loyalty is often tested and heroes are not always what they seem, one story stands out above the rest. A decorated police officer, trusted by her community and beloved by her peers, suddenly finds herself facing the harshest judgment the law can deliver: the death penalty. Her crime, according to the authorities, was unforgivable, her betrayal unimaginable. As she sits behind cold steel bars awaiting her grim fate, there remains one soul who refuses to abandon her: her loyal German shepherd. Max, trained for duty but born for loyalty, becomes the silent witness to an unfolding tragedy that the world will never forget. While society turns its back on the woman it once praised, Max holds steadfast to the only thing he knows: faith in his partner. And then, when all hope seems lost and the world believes the story has ended, Max does something that no one could have ever predicted, something so powerful, so deeply moving, that it forces the entire world to stop and look again. In this story, loyalty will not just be tested, it will be redefined. As the screen fades from black and the music builds in intensity, the camera focuses on the solemn face of our host, who stares directly into the hearts of the audience. With a calm yet serious tone, he speaks, "Assalamu alaikum, friends." Today, we bring you a story that will challenge everything you think you know about loyalty, friendship, and courage. This is not just a tale of a woman and her dog. It is a story of unwavering faith, of a bond so deep that not even death could break it. Prepare yourselves, because every twist and every moment of this story will leave you questioning the very meaning of devotion. This is a journey through betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, an unthinkable act of love that turned despair into hope and darkness into light. As the host's words hang in the air, the music crescendos, and the screen cuts to black once again, setting the stage for an emotional, breathtaking saga that promises to captivate, inspire, and move every soul that hears it. Officer Sarah Mitchell was the embodiment of integrity and bravery, a woman whose name commanded respect in every corner of her city. She wasn't just another badge on the street, she was a guardian, a symbol of hope, a protector of the innocent. At her side always was Max, a powerful and highly trained German shepherd, not just a partner, but a living, breathing extension of her own courage and instinct. For over 10 long years, through endless nights, stormy patrols, high-speed chases, and moments when life and death danced too close together, Sarah and Max stood as an unbreakable team. Together, they faced the darkest corners of the city, chasing down criminals, rescuing victims, and bringing comfort to communities gripped by fear. Their bond was more than professional. It was pure, forged through trust built day after day, mission after mission, where each relied completely on the other to survive. Children would smile and wave when they saw them patrolling. Old shopkeepers would nod gratefully when they passed by. And if you asked anyone in that city who they trusted most, the answer would come without hesitation: Officer Sarah and her dog, Max. Their reputation was untouchable. Their presence was a promise that peace would prevail. People would often say, "Where Sarah and Max are, safety is not far behind." They had become living legends, their names spoken with admiration and gratitude. But life, as it so often does, has a cruel way of changing without warning. Just when it seemed that nothing could ever tarnish their legacy, just when it felt like their story would be one of lifelong service and honor, fate intervened in the harshest way possible. A single night, a single accusation, and everything they had built came crashing down. Trust turned into suspicion, admiration into whispers of doubt. And for Sarah and Max, the world that once held them up on a pedestal began to crumble beneath their feet. The partnership that symbolized everything good and true was now under a shadow so dark even the brightest memories seemed to flicker and fade. Yet even as the city looked away, even as former friends doubted and strangers judged, Max did not falter. His loyalty remained as fierce and unwavering as ever, standing silently, faithfully by the woman who had never once abandoned him. As the host's voice cuts through the somber visuals, there is a quiet sadness in his tone, a deep respect for what was lost and what still remained. "Sarah and Max were once the heartbeat of this city," he says. "But sometimes even the strongest hearts can be broken, and sometimes loyalty is truly tested only in the darkest of times." The screen slowly fades into black, the music dims, and a sense of impending tragedy fills the air, setting the stage for the next unimaginable turn in their story. It was on a night much like any other, a night when Officer Sarah Mitchell had once again set out to protect and serve her city, that everything changed. In an instant, the life she had built through years of sacrifice and dedication shattered beyond recognition. The accusation came swiftly, as cold and cutting as a blade. A crime so severe, so unimaginable, that even those who had once stood beside her found themselves stepping back in disbelief. The evidence, they said, was overwhelming. Witnesses came forward with trembling voices and pointed fingers. Surveillance footage appeared from nowhere, casting shadows of doubt where trust had once lived. Every piece of so-called proof seemed to fall perfectly into place, painting a dark and damning picture of a woman who had once been the city's brightest beacon of hope. Friends turned into strangers, colleagues avoided her gaze, and the very streets she had bled to protect now buzzed with whispered accusations. Inside the sterile, unforgiving walls of the courtroom, Sarah sat quietly, her uniform now traded for a plain jumpsuit, her badge stripped away as if her entire identity could be erased with a single verdict. She listened as the prosecution painted her as a monster, their voices filled with the certainty of her guilt, their words sharper than any weapon she had ever faced on the streets. Her defense, thin and weary, struggled to stand against the tidal wave of anger and betrayal that filled the courtroom. No one wanted to hear her side. No one wanted to believe that the woman they once praised could possibly be innocent. When the judge finally pronounced the sentence, death, a heavy silence fell across the room, broken only by the sound of Sarah's slow, steady breathing. She did not cry. She did not beg. She simply lowered her head, accepting the fate that had been thrust upon her by forces she could not fight. Beyond those cold courtroom walls, the news spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed of her downfall, talk shows debated her guilt, and the people who had once cheered for her now shook their heads in disappointment and anger. The entire city, the very community she had sworn to protect, had turned its back on her without a second thought. But somewhere, beyond the reach of human judgment and betrayal, one heart remained unbroken. Max, her faithful German shepherd, could not understand the charges, could not read the headlines, could not hear the damning words. All he knew was that Sarah was gone, taken from him, locked away behind barriers he could not cross. To Max, she was still his partner, his protector, his world. As the host's voice breaks the heavy silence, a sense of profound sadness fills the screen. The entire city was left in shock, he says quietly. But Max? For him, it was as if his whole world had ended. The screen fades into a cold, colorless shot of a prison gate closing, and the music drops into a deep, aching note, signaling that this story has only begun to reveal its true depth of heartbreak and hope. After Sarah was taken away, Max was sent to a crowded animal shelter, a place filled with noise and confusion, far from the world he once knew. Days passed, but Max refused to eat, refused to play, his spirit drowning in silent grief. Rain lashed against the windows one dark, lonely night as the shelter grew quiet with sleep. But Max was not asleep. With a determination born from pure loyalty, he found a way to break free, slipping past fences and locked doors. As alarms blared into the stormy night, Max disappeared into the darkness, driven by one mission: to find Sarah. Through the icy streets and blinding traffic, Max pressed forward with a determination stronger than hunger, fear, or exhaustion. Snow clung to his fur. Bitter winds whipped against his body, but nothing could break his spirit. He dodged speeding cars, navigated unfamiliar alleys, and braved the freezing nights without shelter or rest. Every paw step was fueled by an unbreakable instinct, a pull stronger than survival itself. Max was not lost. He knew exactly where he needed to go, and he would not stop until he reached her. His journey had only one destination, the woman who was his entire world, Sarah. Max found his way to the prison gates and lay down in the cold, relentless rain, refusing to move, refusing to be driven away. He would not eat, he would not drink. He only waited, his eyes fixed on the walls that kept him from the one he loved. Days turned into nights, and nights into endless days. But Max never gave up. Passers-by would stop, overcome with emotion, watching this lonely figure drenched and shivering, yet unmoving. This was not just a dog waiting. It was loyalty in its purest, most heartbreaking form. A living, breathing testament to undying faith. Max's unwavering vigil outside the prison captured the attention of a passing journalist, and within days, his story spread like wildfire across television screens and social media. The nation was shaken by the raw, powerful image of a dog refusing to abandon his partner. Public outrage grew, protests erupted, and demands for justice thundered through the streets. Under immense pressure, authorities were forced to reopen Sarah's case. This time, the evidence was scrutinized with true care, and the truth finally emerged. Sarah had been framed, a victim of a cruel conspiracy. The world watched, holding its breath for redemption. Justice finally prevailed when the real criminal was exposed and brought to trial, clearing Sarah's name completely. The courtroom erupted in cheers as the judge announced her freedom. But no celebration could match the moment Sarah stepped outside and fell to her knees, embracing Max with tears streaming down her face. Their reunion was pure, overwhelming, and unforgettable. A moment that left not a single eye dry. Today, far from the chaos and betrayal, Sarah and Max live peacefully on a beautiful farm, surrounded by open fields, fresh air, and the unbreakable bond that not even the darkest lies could destroy.